What's up, y'all? I hope all is well. So, I felt obligated to do this rant video somewhat of this in response to this situation regarding Keke Palmer filing a restraining order against her baby daddy, Darius Jackson. And I'm not just going to focus on Keke Palmer's relationship in this video. I'm going to focus on Keke Palmer's relationship, Rihanna's relationship with ASAP Rocky, and Chloe, sorry y'all, Halle Bailey's relationship with DDG. And you guys know I generally do not talk about relationships on my channel. And I don't talk about them because, number one, that's not really a topic that's really interesting to me. Like, I've never really been interested in talking about relationships. Even when I'm with my friends, like, I don't mind talking shit about guys, like talking about who's cute and stuff like that. Like, I don't mind talking about that type of stuff. But I really don't care about talking about relationships. I don't want to listen to relationship podcasts or content. I don't listen to it on TikTok. I'm just not into that. And I feel like we're really being inundated with a lot of relationship content that's just really negative, really not beneficial, just dumb, just distractions. And I just don't see a need to talk about it. I don't feel like I have enough life experience either to legitimately talk about relationships. And honestly, I'm not gonna say I don't feel like most people do, but I don't feel like most people are even qualified to talk about that. It's like a bunch of it's the blind leading the blind out here. So it's like I'm not gonna listen to a bunch of people in their 20s and 30s talk about relationships when they got the same, the same amount of life experience as me and probably way less sense than me. And not trying to toot my own horn, but not saying I've made all the right decisions or do everything right or handle everything correctly or go about everything right with men or whatever. But listen to these people, I'm like, I'd never take y'all advice. And I definitely wouldn't take advice from people who've had way more drama than me. But anywho, that's just my take on why I don't talk about relationships. Never been interested, just not an interest of mine. So that's why I don't discuss them. And I also feel like there's just this inundation of constantly talking about relationships, especially regarding black women's relationships. It's just like this hyper fixation on who black women are dating. And like now people are talking about like interracial dating and like, that whole situation that we're dealing with the Kayla girl and the football player and Taylor Swift. I mean, it's just silly and it's just too much. So that's why I don't talk about it. But in regards to these three relationship dynamics, I won't really be talking about necessarily relationships themselves or how they function, but more so of the effects of these types of relationships on black women as individuals and even on a greater scale, because people can say, oh, these are celebrities, they don't live the same type of life as the average black woman, whoop-de whoop whoop whoop. And I think that's interesting because yeah, they might not, but their decisions and relationships in the people that they have chose and the outcomes are the same as the average black woman. And if you see, okay, we've had about, let's say since the 60s, we've had about a generation of black people that have been celebrities, had money, and we can observe what's happened. We can observe the outcomes. We can observe what's happened to black women. We can observe what black men have done with their money. And black women will talk all day about how black men get money and go marry, Becky's. We can talk about that all day. It is what it is. That's been discussed time over. We already know. But when you look at what black female celebrities do and their outcomes, there's something to learn about that too. And if you want to talk about interracial dating, we can look at the black celebrities who eventually dated a non-black man or married a non-black man or, did originally see their outcomes and compare that to the outcomes of black women that married and dated only black men. You can make an obvious comparison and observe that right there. And it's literally the same dynamic between the average black woman who might be in an interracial relationship and the average black woman who's married to a black man. I'm telling you this for fact. Like, it's the same dynamic. So yeah, you're dealing with people in a different tax bracket, but that dynamic is literally the same. So it's like, I feel like that whole saying what celebrities are doing is not a reflection of the real world. It's just completely gaslighting, because it absolutely is, because a lot of these celebrities was not celebrities 10 years ago. So these are regular people, regular black folks that have money. Keke Palmer was a regular person one day. She was still socialized within the black community, same as Rihanna and Halle Bailey. They've all been socialized in the black community, so they're moving the same way as other black women and girls in their age group. And I want to talk about their dynamic specifically because they're in the good ranges of older Gen Z, Halle Bailey, a millennial, a middle-aged younger millennial, which is Keke Palmer, and an older millennial, which is Rihanna. And so you can see that even younger black women are still falling into these same cycles and traps and relationships with black men that older black women did. And it's obvious. Like, you can look at Sherry Shepherd, Wendy Williams, let me think. Shit, Nicki Minaj, that's an extreme example, but look how that turned out. So many different women. Jill Scott, I think Jill Scott, Mary J. Blige. I mean, honestly, the list goes on and on, but I just can't off the top of my head because I'm just doing this off the top of my head. Shit, even Mariah Carey, like, y'all can play semantics. Oh, she's mixed. It's the same thing with mixed women. They fall into these dusty traps with black and mixed men too. So it's like potato, potato. So the dynamic is the same because the problem is a cultural dynamic. It's not about blood quantum, who's mixed, who's monoracial. That's not the problem. The problem is the cultural dynamic between men and women of African descent. So it doesn't matter what's going on racially there. If you're socialized in a certain community dynamic, that's going to be your community dynamic. And it's the same thing in Afro-Latin communities as well. So to me, it's like I'm not playing the semantics here. But anyway, and they were trying to do that with the whole Keke Palmer Darius Jackson situation. And I find it interesting that when she first got with him and things seemed somewhat okay, and mind you, it was never okay with me, but because I don't literally like to be overcritical of black women's relationships, I did not say anything, but I'll get into that later. But anyway, before they were saying, oh, he's Hispanic, he's mixed, he's not even black, whoop-de whoop whoop whoop. But the minute that it came out that he was abusive and started whooping her ass, and that was exposed, now all of a sudden he's black, he's violent, this is what black men do, black women need to stop getting with dusty black men, blah blah blah. Doesn't matter. I just thought that was interesting. But yeah, the point, like I'm saying, it's semantics. Like, I'm just calling out the hypocrisy, but like, yeah, I definitely observed that as well. But anywho, I now lost my train of thought going down that tangent. Oh yeah, but yeah, the reason why I did not talk about their relationship dynamic to begin with was because, like I said, I feel like there's always a microscope on black men's relationships, and I didn't want to I just don't want to add on into that. But I definitely saw the red flags from the jump. I never was in support of that relationship, never saw it, was never hyping it up, nothing. But I did make that video talking about the disrespect of single mothers. And I still stand by everything I said in that video because that's a separate issue. And that's why in that video, I did not really talk about my opinion of their relationship dynamic because it was not relevant. And I feel like a sign of maturity is being able to separate your perspective on somebody's relationship dynamic and just give a overall perspective on the topic at hand. And that's kind of that was my whole takeaway from the Brickgate situation. Like, they want to sit up here analyzing Rhoda's personal life and, complaining about how she conducts herself on social media. That doesn't matter. That's not relevant to the topic at hand. That has nothing to do with the price of tea in China. Just like Keke Palmer's dusty relationship with this dusty Spanish dude has nothing to do with the disrespect of black single mothers. Before Keke Palmer became a quote unquote single mother, y'all was disrespecting unmarried black mothers before that. Y'all, every time a black celebrity woman basically comes out and is not married and now she's pregnant, y'all drag her for not being married. So it doesn't matter. Like, just like I'm saying, it's like I'm not majoring in minors and playing semantics, and black people always try to do that to avoid from the topic at hand and addressing the larger topic. They want to talk about all these little details that's not relevant. So anyway, since I made that video, since I made that video talking about their relationship, I felt compelled to make this video, since I had been considering doing it for a while. And so the three common things between Keke Palmer's relationship, Halle Bailey's relationship, and Rihanna's is that these are three extremely successful black women that became very successful at young ages, entrepreneurs, did it themselves against the odds, went outside the box, have been through so much in their careers, and then they get into these relationships and give babies to, and one of them allegedly, we don't know for sure, God, please she say she's not pregnant. If she's pregnant, I'm literally going to be so sad. But people are trying to put that on her, and I'm going to get to that whole thing in a second and why that takes me off. But anyway, giving babies to these males that are lesser than them, they're below them. They're not worth being in relationships with them. And it's like, and so like the fact that now this is coming out about Keke Palmer, it's like, I hate to say I'm not surprised, but I'm not surprised at all. Like, I was not shocked. Honestly, I only felt like it was only a matter of time till something like this came out. The minute I found out she was with him and he was a lesser than her and he was not on her level, first of all, those relationships always turn out abusive because males in general, they're very grandstandish and they're very ego driven. And so when they're making less than the woman or they don't have this same type of attention as her, they get very jealous and get very spiteful. And then black males especially, they're very insecure. They feel very low about themselves and they're prone to violence towards black women when they're jealous, and they get very jealous. Like, nobody talks about this, but black men are very jealous of black women. And so I can only imagine how the relationship is that you're Keke Palmer, you're an international superstar, and then you pull this nigga out of obscurity. Nobody knows who he is. He's not doing nothing for himself. You pull him, dust him off, give him a baby. Of course this nigga's gonna be running around insecure as hell when he's unknown and broke compared to you. Okay, people can say, oh, he's not broke, he has money, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is what I'm talking about dating your equals. And this is something that black women really need to understand. And I don't care how classist this sounds. Women need to be like this to protect ourselves. Women need to be picky and choosy about who we're having babies with, who we're in relationships, who we're sleeping with. We have to be that way to protect ourselves. And these males want to take it personal. And it's like, if you were a man to on the standard of where you're supposed to be, and you were not a lesser, and trying to date outside of your tax and financial and social bracket, then you wouldn't have a problem. And that's something I do not understand and why about black males. It's like they want to date women that's way more successful than them, because most black women get way more money than black men, are way more successful, way more ambitious, way more driven. They don't have that same drive or passion. They're OD underachievers, but then they want to sit up here at Screwface and be hating and then try to get with these women in order to mooch off their resources or put a baby in them and try to anchor them down and make them feel financially and, emotionally dependent on them. And that's really what they do. A lot of black men will have babies with black women just so they can have a tie to you and have access to you. And that's it, just to get resources. Like, this is a scheme they're literally pulling. And y'all think I'm kidding. Like, I know I'm on to them. I know what they're doing. I know for a fact. And this is exactly what A$AP Rocky did. I know for a fact that he did this. And this is what DDG is doing too. So I wouldn't be surprised if DDG is the one fueling these pregnancy rumors. And, or let's say, God forbid, she actually is pregnant. I'm sure that was his idea, not hers. Because I know how Disney is. And Disney don't play about their stars. So I know that Disney is keeping a tight grip on hallebailey. She needs to be lucky she's even associating with that nigga, because he's a lesser too, all the way below her. But anyway, and A$AP Rocky is too. And then people think, oh, well, they have money, they're not regular dudes. Okay, whatever. I'm not saying that they picked him up off a bus stop like Tia Mori did, or whichever one. And that's another situation. I didn't even include her situation. Tia Tamara, I don't even remember, but y'all know, the one that just divorced the black dude. It's the same situation. Women of African descent getting with these men that are below them, that are lesser than them, socially, economically, financially, career-wise, they're not on their levels, and then things go wrong. And now, I don't know the details between their relationship. As far as I know, it doesn't seem like anything horrible happened with their divorce specifically, in terms of Tia Tamara or whoever. So I'm not speaking about them specifically, but still, it's like that was bound to happen. Like, it's great. I hope they had an amicable split and nothing crazy happened between them. But I'm just saying, like, there's a pattern here. Like, why is it that you see this black women falling into this pattern and you do not see other groups of women falling into this pattern? You just do not. So I'm not understanding why we're being gaslit and told that it's all in our head and that this dynamic is not across the board, whether the black woman is rich, a celebrity, actress, or not. So it's just crazy to me. But anyway, so back to A$AP Rocky and his gold digging baby daddy scheme. So anyway, first let me start with DDG. I can tell you that DDG is running this scheme to, number one, remain relevant, popular, because now Halle's bringing him to all these events. Nobody was checking for this nigga. She's getting him into all these events, all these different spaces and different high class prestigious places you know, the Paris Fashion Week and all that type of stuff. She's getting him into there. Mind you, he cannot return that to her. He can't get her into anywhere except Ty Sente's live stream. He can't, or whatever, Kai Sanat, whatever the fuck that dude's name is. He can't do nothing for you but put you up on a live stream on Twitch. He has no social status, ain't pulling no strings, got no motion. Who is this dude? This dude is a YouTuber. You are Chloe Bailey. You are Halle Bailey. I'm sorry. You have been endorsed by Beyonce since you were a child. Why would you entertain a dude like this? And it's not her fault because, like I said, this is a cultural dynamic. Black women are socialized in this dynamic and they're brainwashed and they don't know any better. And so it's scary to me that even the adults around them, like how you have Beyonce and Mama Tina behind you and you dating DDG. But at the same time, how can she know any better? Look at who Beyonce and Mama Tina was with and are with. Like look at who are they with? And honestly, I feel like Jay-Z and Beyonce are equally yoked. Like I do think that was a smart decision. But like, come on now, Jay-Z, like, come on. Like he had to really build himself up. And he built himself up and changed his like image and his, you know, financial status and his placement in society in a way that most black men don't work to do. Most black men are very content. They just stay stagnant. They don't try to work to better themselves, and that's the problem. And then people want to say that, oh, you need to keep working with him. No, nobody got time for that. Nobody has another generation of baby mamahood drama and nonsense to waste with them. Like nobody has time for that. Okay, made the best group win. That's what I'm gonna say. Shit, nobody holding nothing down anymore. But anyway, so I'm just saying, who would tell Halle Bailey the truth? You know, who would be honest about that with her? She probably has no one in her life. Like, I don't know her parent situation, but it's a culture dynamic. And then her sister, Chloe, I already did a video like 2 years back about her associating with the likes of Gunna. And then at first I was like, okay, am I being like a little like super judgmental when I made that video? But then 2 months later, after I made that video, Gunna is in jail. He's over here singing like a canary in that YSL case, you know, locked up on racketeering charges, on RICO charges, some shit. I'm just like, this is what I'm talking about. Y'all are like opera trained gospel singers and y'all are associating with these lesser males. That's what I'm talking about. It's like it's just y'all are not equally yoked. It's just it's not gonna work out. And the thing about DDG, I feel like he used to be with Ruby Rose. I feel like they're equally yoked. Ruby Rose is the internet chick. I don't know what she does, but you know, whatever, cute girl, but I just don't know what she does. He went from being with Ruby Rose, okay, somebody that he's equally yoked with, and he can elevate her, which is what the man is supposed to do. And that was my whole point. He can't elevate Halle Bailey's status in any way. And being with a man, he's supposed to elevate your status, I feel like, or supposed to do more open doors for you. What's the point of associating with a man who can't do nothing for you or can't elevate you? That makes no sense. What am I around you for? Like, I'm not about to just sit in a nigga's face or any man's face at all just for shits and giggles. Like, and you're not doing nothing for me. Like, I don't care how that sounds. Like, I could be great on my own. I'd buy everything myself, got my own motion. So what I'm sitting around fucking around with you for, dealing with your drama and nonsense, and you ain't even doing nothing for me. Like, it makes no sense. So that's why I don't even, to me, it's not even, these relationships are not even rational or logical. What is Darius doing for Kekepalmer? Nothing, not a thing. All he's done is literally done more negative to her reputation and more bad press than she's ever had in her whole career. We never heard nothing bad about Keke until she got with this dude. Like, they're literally anchors and they drag black women down socially. But anyway, so he was with Ruby Rose, and you see what type of woman Ruby Rose was, and now he got with Chloe Bailey. Halle Bailey. That should be a red flag in itself. Anytime you see a man always dealing with some type of woman, and then he gets with a woman that's completely opposite than his usual type, that should always be a red flag, I feel like. Because why? And I'm not saying people can't like different things or whatever, but like, as somebody who has very diverse tastes, I'm gonna just say that when there's people who are always dealing with certain types of people, and then they automatically all of a sudden start doing someone who's not their type, I look at that as a side eye, because I'm like, you're clearly there for a reason. You're clearly there for a purpose, and it's usually always like that. So he's with Halle, I'm sorry, I keep doing that, because it's beneficial to him. It's not beneficial to her. It's beneficial to him. And same thing with A$AP Rocky. His star was declining. Nobody was checking for him. Nobody was worried about him. And so he gets with her, and that's beneficial to him. Now infinitely attached to Rihanna. Now he has, yeah, maybe they don't have physical access to their money, but you have a child with that person, so you have access to their life, to who they are. They're gonna always, you're gonna always have to be in some type of communication with them, at least till the child is 18, 19. So it's like it works out for them. It doesn't benefit the black woman at all. But then y'all fight so hard for these relationships and talk about how these men are your preference. It makes no damn sense. And want to argue other black women down, making everybody else feel bad when they even suggest that this is not beneficial, when it's not. It's not beneficial to the kids, and it's not beneficial to you either. And it's not beneficial to the kids because after 3 years old, they ain't even in the house half the time any damn way. So what's the point? Like shit, most of these relationships, the children are not even 18 months yet, and stuff is already up in flames. Hello, Darius Jackson. So what are we even talking about here? But anyway, so back to ASAP Rocky. Yeah, and they always have been friends and always been associated with each other, whatever. And it's fine if they were friends. I don't care. But again, going back to the whole men suddenly switching their type when it becomes a beneficial thing. We know that ASAP Rocky had always been associated with tall, skinny white women who look nothing like Rihanna. He even been in videos uplifting white women, talking very positively about them, saying he don't care about BLM. Literally, black women out here going hard for black men's issues. They on podcasts talking about they and Soho fucking white girls, not worried about BLM. But okay, go off, sis. Just goofy. But anywho, that's what he said. Then when he got in a little kerfluffle in Sweden, because he went over there acting a damn fool, thinking that it's America where he got to get to act ignorant, don't have to follow laws. He gets over there, now he wants to pull the black card, trying to get black people support. Get out of here. So he's just annoying as hell. And not to mention he's a colorist, and he said something about darker skinned women wearing makeup. It's just so much negative about him. And it's not, and I'm not even gonna put that on Rihanna, because I don't think that it's fair to hold what these men say over light-skinned women's heads. That's something I talk about. But at the same time, I do think that's not why would you even be with a dude like that? I do, if she was my friend, that's what I would say. I do feel that way. I do think that light-skinned women should take that into account. That's not cute. I don't feel like nobody should be able to pull up that your man was talking negatively about, your sisters, but you making a makeup line, selling it to the same black women. I don't think that's cool. But it's again, I'm not going to hold that over her head or put that on her, because that's not fair. But I think that that's a legitimate thing to point out, especially the fact that I don't even think he values women that look like Rihanna. I think that he will tolerate a black woman that looks like Rihanna, and that's how most black men that think like ASAP Rocky are. It's not that they like light-skinned black women, actually, but they'll tolerate you, and they know it's also beneficial to associate themselves with light-skinned and biracial women, because they still need black women so that they can have that parity with the black community, so that they can have that support there. So they still need to associate with black women, and that's how light-skinned black women are used as a pawn in these situations and triangulated, because a lot of times black men like ASAP Rocky that are colorists and value white women, they don't really like or value light-skinned and biracial women like that, or mixed women like that. But they'll tolerate them because they have to, and it's more beneficial. And it's more benefits for them to be with a black woman than it is to be with a white woman. So, it was more beneficial for ASAP Rocky to get into a relationship. And it probably would have been beneficial for him to have a baby with Kendall Jenner, whatever. But I feel like she's too smart for that. I feel like she saw that he was dusty and he wasn't worth it, and his star was falling off, because who's really checking for ASAP Rocky? Nobody. He needed a little boost in his fame, and getting with Rihanna was the best job for him. And think about it like this. Rihanna went years with black males, running her through the ringer, treating her badly, just playing mad games with her. And then she was with that sexy Arab zaddy that was rich. How you go from being with that dude to being with ASAP Rocky? That was the biggest fumble in history. When I heard that, I'm sorry, I was as depressed as I'm gonna be if I find out that Hallebailey is pregnant. I was like, wow, that's the craziest fumble in history. Wow, Rihanna. But just think about that. And I feel like she just settled on ASAP Rocky because it was comfortable. Because like I was saying, think about all these years that black males was putting Rihanna through the ringer. ASAP Rocky was her friend. He wasn't thinking about her. He wasn't trying to be in a relationship with her or marry her or nothing like that. Not saying she needs to get married to him, because then he'd really have access to her money, and we really don't want that. So I'm not saying she needs to marry him. So that's why I don't shame people for being single mothers. Like, I don't think that you should give these men any access to your finances or anything that you earn. That's your money. So I am all for that, for rich black women not marrying these dudes. So that's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, it was so many years that they was quote unquote friends. They was not in a relationship before, and like he told us in the podcast, he was up in Soho fucking white girls. So why all of a sudden now, when you're dusty, washed up, and nobody's checking for you anymore, now all of a sudden you want to start having babies with Rihanna? Like, and especially if you know that she's going through a difficult time after she broke up with Arab Zaddy. So I don't know. I don't trust that dude at all. I don't like A$AP Rocky. I think that was a completely opportunist move. And I think that everybody recognizes that he's below Rihanna and he's a lesser. He's not on her level. And yeah, whatever, he might have money compared to the average black man, but he is not anywhere in the same financial bracket as Rihanna. And it's the same thing with Darius, and it's the same thing with DDG. Like, yeah, okay, they might have more money than the average dude, so they need to go get an average woman though. And that's why I get so irritated with black men. It's like they want to date with black women that are so much more successful than them, work so much harder than them, just to anchor you down and pull you down socially. They don't want to go to the hood and marry a regular black woman and bring her up and pass down the wealth. Like, everything they do is so backwards. They want to be the kept women. They want to be the ones taking care of. They want to say, oh, my bitch is a celebrity, blah blah blah. Like, it's just weird. Like, they want to be in the women's role, and that's why things don't work in the black community. It's like, that's what I'm trying to say. The dynamic between the black men and black women is why things don't work out. Like, they want to attach themselves and leech off successful black women and bring her down and not contribute and be cats. But then they want to sit up here on Instagram complaining about going 50-50, and in these podcasts complaining about simple shit. It's just ridiculous. It's like, no, why don't you go out and grind for like every other man and work for yourself and try to take care of a woman and build a woman up? Like, why are you always trying to live off the successes off women, or find some get rich quick scheme, or always trying to do like some sneaky way to try to get ahead, or to try to get something from a woman? I hate that shit. It's so unattractive and not cute. Like, yeah. But anyway, I feel like that's what DDG is trying to do, and I feel like that's what A$AP Rocky did, and that's what Darius successfully did, because nobody knew who the fuck he was. Nobody even knew who his dusty ass brother was. Nobody knows who these people are. Nobody knew who DDG was. Nobody's checking for these dudes, and black women legitimize them, and that's a huge issue. I feel like black women need to stop legitimizing these men who have not put in the work. Black men know that they don't have to put in the work. All they have to do is try to woo a successful black woman, and then she'll put them on the map. She'll build them up, and she'll legitimize them, and then they'll have access to different people and in different spaces. And it's just disgusting to me, because they shouldn't be able to do that. And the whole dynamic is just really sad. And like, I hope the best for Rihanna. It's like, I hate that I even had to make this video, but I just had to keep it a stack and be real. And even though I don't like talking about relationships, it just like, oh, I also wanted to mention, I forgot, speaking of bringing a black woman down and leeching, I think DDG literally mentioned in a song, in his dusty raps that nobody's checking for. Mind you, DDG has been on the internet since I was in middle school. I think middle school, early high school. I just remember he's been on the internet for a long time. His social status has not changed. He has not, been legitimized by the mainstream like, the white YouTubers have. And yeah, you could say that's racism, whatever. I don't think it is. I think it's just that their content is not original. Ain't nobody checking for that. Nobody's checking for another dusty rapper. But anywho, so he's not growing. He's stagnating. Nobody's checking for YouTubers anymore. Everybody's moved on to Kai Cenat. Nobody's checking for DDG. So he really needs Halle Bailey, and he needs her star power. But anyway, he was in one of his dusty songs talking about he feels some type of way, and he want to sabotage your career. And he literally said this in a song. And this is literally what they do. Y'all think I'm lying? They be plotting on black women. They do. They know exactly what they're doing. They know that they can bring a dust storm to you and bring their do-rags and drama and fuck up your life. They know that they can do that, and they be plotting. And then black women come with these pure intentions, just trying to, have a beautiful black family. And it's like, I'm sorry, mama, but that's not what's going on. You're sleeping with the devil. You're sleeping with your downfall, baby girl. I'm sorry. And it's just not going to end well. But in conclusion, I think that if there's one takeaway from, both of these situations, sorry, all three of these situations, it's just that, we should really be, I think, more strategic and more mindful about the decisions, we're making. And I use we extremely loosely. But but that we are making culturally as Black women, I think that that needs to be analyzed. And I get triggered when I hear other Black people saying this, but I do think we need to take accountability in our role in some of this nonsense. Like, we can cry all day about Black males abandoning their children and how they're underachievers, and all the negative things about them. But Black women really do play off their behavior. They enable their behavior. They excuse it, and they cover up for it, and they and like I said, they facilitate it as well by way of having these children and bringing them into less than stellar situations. We are not in the Handmaid's Tales. We are not in the 1950s. We are not in Africa, in the Middle East. We're not in Bangladesh. We're not in some place where we don't have access to birth control. We don't have access to preventative birth control. We don't have access to abortions. Yes, I know in some places we do not, but condoms exist. It's probably like $5 for a pack. It's free at a lot of places, and I know that Black males are very anti-safe sex. They will try to pressure you into not using condoms. They never want to they just never want to wrap it up, and they want to try to pressure you into doing stuff you don't want to do, and want to put you in a situation to be vulnerable to being pregnant. But then they want it to be your problem and want to split out or disappear when it's time for the baby to come. I understand that. I get that. But if that's the case, then you shouldn't be sleeping with them, like, for real. And I think that that's a very legitimate case to not sleep with them or not deal with them. Like, if you're that concerned that and it's that difficult to not prevent a pregnancy with one of them, because honestly, I don't see white women or non-Black women who deal with men of their own group, having these same issues in terms of, like, bringing children in less than stellar situations. And I hate to even say that, but it's like, it's true. And that's why I try to see this as cultural. Like, the excuses really need to stop. I'm just being honest with you. Like, if you cannot get on birth control or get yourself to an abortion clinic, if you know how they're gonna be, then just don't. You shouldn't even be dealing with them if it's that serious. Like, because you're creating more problems for yourself. And I'm not victim blaming, but I'm saying as the holders of the reproduction system that we have, you can prevent a pregnancy. Like, and I just need this to stop. And that might sound crass, but my patience with this, it's just, to me at this point, is ridiculous. And I want to get a little personal, but like, at my school, I live in New York, and I understand it's different in other states, but like, I'm just saying, we don't live in a third, second world country where we don't have access to preventative care, birth control. So this should not be as widespread of an issue in the Black community as it is. It's really not an issue. It's just irresponsibility on the part of Black men and Black women. I do think that Black women are irresponsible with our reproduction. I just have to be honest with you. I think that we're careless. I think that we do that to acquiesce to Black men. Like I'm saying, they don't want to use condoms. They, for some reason, are anti-birth control. Even in the 60s, during the Black Power movement, they were trying to get Black women to not use birth control. Like, they're weird as fuck, bro. Like, they're weird as fuck. They want you to have a whole litter of children that they're not going to take care of, or that they don't want, and they just want them there so that for their own personal benefit. They don't even care about the well-being of the child, who needs both of their parents sound, financially contributing, and in the home. They don't care about that. They just want to have it there so they can control and manipulate you, and it's sick. And people want to say, oh, what's going on with celebrities is not the same. No, it is, because I wouldn't be surprised if Darius rushed Keke into having a baby, if DDG is trying to pressure and rush old girl into having a baby, and if ASAP Rocky rushed her into having a baby and was trying to hurry up and lock it down with her too. Because please, I feel like that. I don't believe these women are just waking up and asking to having kids with these dudes. I definitely believe that's what's happening, because I know how they are. Because I've had dudes try to do that to me when I was dealing with them, and I was like, absolutely not. Like, fuck out of here. But anyway, like I said, at my high school, they were offering birth control, and it was free. You could just get it. You'd have to do all the procedures and everything. But anyway, the amount of people that I know now that are now parents, I'm talking about men and women, and, bringing children into situations that I know are really negative and they don't have the funds. And it's just like, it's ridiculous to me, because it's like, okay, I get it, people have health problems, people have stuff, but I've personally had conversations with friends that gave me a whole shitload of excuses as to why they can't use birth control. Oh, it don't work. Oh, it makes you fat. Oh, it's this and that. It's like, bro, can y'all come out of 1998? Like, for real. Like, yes, there are different types of birth controls. There's different things. If it's that serious, don't have sex. Like, so you're telling me that having sex with some dude who's probably not even a good person in your life, that's more important than bringing a child into your life and into a situation that's less than stellar? Seriously? Like, I'm sorry, I gotta be keep the stack. That's just my opinion. And so that really changed my perspective. And I know we all had access to it. So what is even the reason for this? So it's like, at this point, that's what I'm saying, it's cultural. And it's just irresponsible. And people think, oh, I'm gonna just have a kid and it's okay, or we're just gonna figure it out. No, that's not good. It's like they're just doing the same thing that their mothers did, that their grandmothers did. And it's like, now we're not in the same situation. Like, we are 1-2 generations from sharecroppers and immigrants and stuff like that. We have access to things. You don't have to keep doing that same thing over and over again. It's not working. And especially because in my generation, like, and that's why I focused on the millennials and Gen Zs, we're educated, we have money, we have resources. So it's no reason to keep this cycle going. And I'm not even saying don't have the babies because you don't want to be a single mother. Who gives a fuck about being a single mother? I don't care. I'm saying these situations, if they're toxic from the jump, why bring a baby into it? And I'm gonna say 75%, and I'm being generous, it's probably more like 80 to 90% of the time, the situation was toxic from the jump. The man was not good from the jump. Listen, some niggas is just good for dicks and tricks. Some men in general, it doesn't matter his race. Some men are just good for dicks and tricks. You don't have to have these babies. I don't get that. And then a lot of the time they listen to their sweet nothings. The dude will already be not shit, but then they find out they're pregnant. They see it's a situation to emotional and love bomb and gaslight the woman into keeping an emotional tie with them. They say, oh yeah, keep the baby. Then the baby comes, they start acting funny because now they know they're locked in and they don't have any recourse. And then there's a cultural dynamic where nobody's enforcing child support. Nobody's enforcing these men to take care of their kids. They're blaming the woman. They get to be Instagram daddies and everybody cheers them on. It's just trash, sick, counterproductive, nonsensical, and just completely, honestly, idiotic at this point. And I'm sorry, that's been my rant. I know it's been tough, a lot of hard truths spoken, but I just had to get this out. Love you all. Thank you for the support. Get in this comment section. Let me know what you think. Bye-bye.